What is up, everybody? My name is Adam. Some of you know me as Headhunter M2018 and a voice for gaming. Hope you're having a fantastic day tonight. Taking at you guys with another showcase, and this time it is my Kelvin Timeline Enterprise recreation, which is finally done after working on it non-stop for 2 months straight. I built that thing back in between December and January when it was released, and I received good praise for it at the time, and it was really good for its sculpt, but it was very, very imperfect. And considering that my standards for the builds that I set for myself is I just like to do the stuff properly. So for me, I'm a perfectionist. It matters to me to do recreations right. Here's my Enterprise D, which we need to finish. I need to finish, but since I'm streaming this live here on Twitch, but also just in general, I need to get it done. But it'd be cool to have some other Enterprises to compare. But anyway, this showcase is going to be me showing off the ship and kind of explaining everything so you guys can understand the build just like I do, and whatnot. And yeah, that's what it's for. So whether you're watching it on Twitch, YouTube, or the actual build page on Mod.io, thank you for downloading it. Well, for those of you who have downloaded it, and hopefully you'll enjoy. So I'm going to show you guys how to spawn it in so you can make sense of it and all that, and teach you, share some of the tips and whatnot. So let me go and spawn it in. Okay, so here it is, and so to make sense of which way it's facing, I'm going to kind of explain that now. So it's facing, right now it's facing nacelles to the left of the screen, and saucer facing right. So these two grids at the back, those are the end caps on the warp nacelles. That large rectangle in the about the middle is the impulse engines. The impulse engine small grid assembly is attached securely by 4 rotors, so that's not going anywhere. That is completely one with the build. It's all one grid. I had to do that with merge blocks, and that one lowest is kind of like a square more than anything. That is the deflector dish assembly. So to get the most detail and to properly represent areas, I did have to do a bunch of small grid assemblies on large grid. The ship actually doesn't experience any drift, which is fantastic. Drift is when the ship kind of twitches and kind of will rotate depending on how bad the drift is, but in general, when it's just sitting still, it will start to move because the grids are kind of acting up and whatnot. So this ship hasn't encountered anything, so it's good. But yeah, the only required mod, or not, it's not even required, but if you install one of the Star Wars mods, whether it be the 2020 update or the rebalanced, I like the rebalanced, but it's not that effective against other heavy armor builds. That makes up for your 6 phaser turrets. On the top is the saucer section on the underside, and then the torpedo tube as well. Without those, you just don't get the weapons. It doesn't affect anything with the ship, so you can use it without the Star Wars mods. But yeah, here it is. I worked my ass off on perfecting this thing's proportions. It took so long for me to get it right. Sometimes I would keep updating and keep working on it, and it was just only a block off. But yeah, here it is. I'm super proud of this thing. Worked non-stop on it, and I'm really excited to release the final product. So for those of you who actually take scale into consideration for recreations, I can't say that this has a scale. I don't consider Star Trek ships having a scale, because at the end of the day, if one block takes up a certain amount of the proportions of that ship to scale, then there's supposed to be a bunch of windows there. So it doesn't work for Star Trek ships when Star Trek ships have hundreds of windows. But as far as it goes, this is a perfect 3D sculpt, or near as close to perfect as it can be. All of the details, proportions, profiles, shapes, all of that is accurate. I've worked tirelessly to make sure that it is the best it can be, and I'm extremely proud of the result because a lot has gone into this one. Almost as much work has gone into the Enterprise D to get it where it is now. But yeah, so as far as flying it goes, it has 2 bridges. You have the main bridge here within the bridge module. Super easy to get to, and this is the main bridge. It's a lot more detailed and more compact and stuff. Bridges in the recreation, you can't really do anything crazy for interiors, and so I just make sure I sculpt the ships properly. But I came up with a really nice bridge. This was in the initial release, so nothing really changed there. You get some really nice camera angles for the main bridge, but there is another bridge, and I'll show you that after I show you what the camera angles are like for this. You have your helm, your navigation. I don't have any commands set up in these chairs, so they are there. You can fly the ship from those points, but this is the captain's chair. So here, your initial page, um, for those of you who may need the introduction, I don't think you need it, but LBRB, so you can rotate the camera around the ship. You got a great zoom out from the front. You actually get a force zoom out from the back, so you get really nice views of the end caps. So you get some really nice flying camera angles, and it will change as you pick up speed and move the ship and whatnot. But as your default setting, you have it kind of a good front half of the warp nacelles. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. The camera angles for this. It's pretty good. But anyway, so here are your 4 main commands on the initial page. You have your beacon, which is a large beacon, kind of, you know, when that's on 24/7. It takes up a lot to look at the ship, but it's better to spell out the Kelvin Timeline Enterprise. So you have that, and then you can see to the left, the right, and the underside, you have your weapon commands. So to the left, you have your welders, and the welders will repair the phaser turrets. This thing only has 6 phaser turrets on the top of the sausage section and the underside, and it only takes just a little bit of damage for those weapons to become inactive or destroyed. You know, your turrets can literally look at another one and try and make a shot and friendly fire and just take out the other turret. So what these welders do is they keep them active, they keep them functional. They're not they're not indestructible, the weapons, but they'll last longer in combat unless you're coming under extreme heavy fire and it's very constant. That's the only way you're going to really lose these phaser turrets. So yeah, and there's Star Wars weapons, but it's the best I could do. You know, we don't have actual Star Trek weapons here on Mod Today, on Xbox Space Engineers in general. But that's what that is. And then for the left and right, for right and under, is just your commands to bring the weapons online. So as a default, that's just turning them on, so it'll actually fire. But it's a good way if your weapons are shooting all over the place and you want to decrease the chance of friendly damage or whatnot, you can just turn them on, bring them all on. But anyway, so there's a secondary page. So if you hold your top toggle stick down and then you press B, you can go to the next page, and there's 3 pages. So you have your camera controls here. This is your left nacelle, your right nacelle, and your deflector dish. So the camera right here is specifically dead center to the deflector dish. It gives a really nice view for pulling up on ships and seeing the phaser turrets fire and whatnot. But because of that camera, sometimes the deflector dish will get targeted specifically, and that you can lose that whole small grid assembly if enough fire hits it at one directed time. So that's why I have this up on the D-pad. We'll turn all of the cameras off just to reduce the chances of the deflector dish and the cameras getting targeted and destroyed, because they do add a lot of a fun play feature to the ship. Having these camera angles, especially when you are in combat, when the photon torpedo tube is firing at things, when it has a shot and it will fire, it just gives you a nice perspective in combat and flying and whatnot. So it's something different than what the normal camera angles would provide flying the ship. So that's there, but that's what up on the D-pad is turn on the power off for all those, so it increases the chance of getting them targeted. And then the last page is your warp. So you have your jump drives. This thing actually has a total of 5 jump drives, but you have to the left to increase the distance, right decrease the distance of the jump drive, and up on the D-pad is actually to jump. And then on the underside you have a spotlights, and that is the spotlights for warp nacelles, the warp nacelle end caps. So it's actually the Canon amount of sort of ring of lights and whatnot on the back of the warp nacelle end caps are 14. I was able to pull off 12, so it's actually insanely close. And this is a really nice detail. Now, the reason why I have this as a default off is because even with the lowest settings, those do extend just slightly past the warp nacelle. So it's an option. Like it looks really incredible when you're flying the ship. You can also use it when you jump if you time it right, and I can showcase that stuff, but when you jump, and then you can bring them on just as you jump and then turn them off. You can kind of use it like that. You can easily set up a timer so that the spotlights come on when you're about to jump and then turn off after you jump. So it's a really cool like feature that you can actually add a little bit of action. So when you go to warp, and then right before you jump, boom, they come online. So that is an option whether you want to have those online or not. It's a really nice detail. So I want to explain these things because you wouldn't get that initially if you didn't know about the other pages. It was just A to scroll back, so it's B to scroll forward to the pages and A to scroll back. And there's only 3. Those are all of the commands and whatnot. And once again, flying camera perspective ship, you get really nice zoom outs considering that the bridge is in the bridge module and whatnot. But yeah, that is the main bridge. So the secondary bridge, and a lot of my version 2s have secondary bridges. You have a cockpit piece in the bridge module for the TOS, and then you actually have a little bit of interior. It's just a little thing, and then a sort of little bridge in the main hull. And then the Enterprise D, well, that's a whole other thing because it's different segments, but you have the bridge inside of there, and then you'll have the main bridge inside of there as well. But yeah, so down here, initially the original January release had the just doors going through here, and well, when I do the version 3 designs, when I do them, will be proper exterior models, but proper internals, so all of the warp coils and the warp nacelles and all the details, simulated deck plating, warp cores, the tech that runs into the deflector dish, a whole new level of consideration, double the amount of work that I normally do to make these perfect, proper replicas and whatnot, because I'll have to look at blueprints and stuff and be like, how much can I pack into these very relatively not that large models, but I just pack all the detail in. But anyway, so the battle bridge is down here. It's just a sliding door. It's dead in center of the sloping of the hull, and I believe these details of the transport emitters. This model features all of this, almost every spotlight detailing and all of the running light details, and they are set. They are timed to go off at the right times. I can't get the double blinking at the what this Enterprise is known for, where it's got that double flash very quickly. I couldn't pull that off. You can have that be like super, but it's just non-stop double. So you can have something blink really, really quick, but to have times go off in between, that is a whole other thing. So it's super simple to get through the battle bridge, and this was here from day 1 too. I decided to keep it. I was originally going to get rid of it because on the version 3, this is where the shuttle bay is going to be, and all of that detail will be sculpted and whatnot for the racks that hold the shuttles. But yeah, so originally there was red on the floor, but you're literally only 1 block away from breaching the hull. But this is considered the battle bridge. Same thing, you can fly from these points, but there's nothing set up as far as controls, and it's the exact same here. All of your same controls are here. So it's just all the same. But just being able to explain that yes, there is 2 other pages from the initial one. Everything does. It's not as advanced as the Enterprise D, where there's a group and a specific control to bring each phaser bank online and whatnot, but that's a whole other thing. So automatically right off the back, you get a much more zoomed out profile of the warp nacelles and whatnot. Really fun going to warp from this perspective, because you're going to get that full close-up warp nacelle and just go. So it's really awesome. You get a much better view from back here. Then you have a more zoomed in front view here, but yeah, that's 2 different flying perspectives. If you end up losing the bridge module, that encounters damage and whatnot, and you want to be like, we lost the bridge, it just gives you another option to fly the ship from if you lose the captain's chair in there or something. And yeah, just another, you can fly this ship from here and smash the ship straight into an asteroid and rip off the saucer section. It doesn't matter because you're safe in the back. So yeah, just another option for a camera perspective, and another point for flying the ship. But I thought I would announce that this bridge isn't as fancy. I wish I could have gotten the red coloring on the floor like it had, because that actually added a lot of life to it, but I just can't do it since there's literally would be nothing covering the floor. Nothing too crazy. I don't do ships as interiors. I make sure to sculpt these things. They're properly sculpted models. That's what the biggest challenge is. So the amount of work I went through readjusting things, rebuilding things, resculpting things to get everything proper. It's been a lot, but I'm super excited to release this thing and for you guys to enjoy, because it was a lot of time and a lot of hard work, and I'm just glad that I can enjoy. I can play with the final product, because what I had before was not okay. It was so bad. Yeah, the deflector dish, perfect circle, represented all the flower petals and whatnot in a super unique sculpt, which I right on the first try, I got that. Did that all live here on Twitch and whatnot, and it took a while to actually get that to be a perfect circle and figure out the sculpting for back there. Once again, the impulse engine, you know, each small grid assembly adds thousands of blocks, at least 1 to 2,000 actual pieces to the assemblies, so that jumps up the PCU, especially if you don't have a PCU, you know, one instead of one PCU per 2 PCU per block, 1 PCU, right? But I can properly detail all of these things. Use the new armor panel pieces there, so you can have this really nice sort of honeycomb look for the impulse engine that it's known for. Got this whole area, it was able to represent that as the proper angle detail and stuff like that. It's just awesome. There's still some areas that could have been more detailed, but I did the impulse crystal here, but I didn't. Couldn't do anything more for the spine, so I had to balance large grid. I had to balance large grid and the small grid areas and stuff, and it had to be like, you know, this area has to be done in small grid. And originally, you know, the end caps were in large grid, but what I was able to pull off, making these small grid, it is awesome, and the spotlight feature is so cool. The detail's so much better back here and whatnot. So yeah, I'm really proud of this thing, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. And once again, the TOS version 2 is already available. Enterprise D without the sausage section. I don't know which one I'm doing next, but I need to finish the Enterprise D probably before Halo Infinite, because I'm gonna be dedicating a lot of time to that. So maybe I should get my ass back on the Enterprise D, and if so, I'll stream that when I can here, because I love sharing these builds with you guys and whatnot. I'm actually going to load up into a world to show you what this thing's like in combat. I have a world saved as Enterprise Patrol, but before I do that, I will quickly show you guys what making the jump to warp is like with the spotlights, and if you use it as a sort of feature like that. So once again, all we got to do is we're going to go turn them off. We're going to go and jump to warp. You do have some glowing the thruster flames or whatnot. Only matters. So now, kind of boom, and turn them off, right? So you can do that. It's a super simple thing, or it's a great look to have it on 24/7 or whatnot. It's just a matter of what you want. As a default, I have it off just because it does extend only like slightly slightly further back, but I couldn't recess it anymore. So yeah. But yeah, super glad to just be done with this thing, because of the amount of work I had to do to get the sculpts final, and the exact points of detailing and proportions of those, and it was a lot. But I love this ship. I've always loved this ship. I know not everyone likes the Kelvin Timeline Enterprise. You know, I think a lot more people dislike Star Trek Discovery or you know, other things like that than the J.J. Abrams Star Trek films. You know, but I know that there are a lot of you out there who will love it, and if you love Star Trek in general, my TOS, the scaling between that, you know, this is obviously a larger than the TOS, but they pair off pretty well. So yeah, I was actually final product able to define that really well, and overall the whole sculpt is like just spot on. Like it's exactly the way it needs to be, and it's just a lot of rebuilding things and balancing things. But if you lose the whole deflector dish, like you still have a good amount of detailing and whatnot. But yeah, so that is that, and I'm going to quickly show you guys what she's like in combat, so you guys can get an idea of what the weapons firing is actually like, and whatnot. So yeah, just going to do that really briefly, and we'll end it. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys the mods that I've been talking about that make the thing fly good. So once again, my friend's getting that. He's a newcomer to the modding on Flux Space Engineers, but he's done great stuff. His cheap armor blocks only 1 PC with no edges. Normally, you know, the blocks have the edging on the outline sort of thing, so it makes super funky, kind of helps you tell things apart if they're not built properly or in organized ways, or heavy armor and light armor will stand out, or like different angles will pop out with those edges. So I like the no edges, but instead of each block being 2 PCU, it's 1. So spawning in something is normally half the PCU less, so that's a good thing to have in general. The light armor has more weight to it, but it has more durability like heavy armor, so that's a great mod to have. 10 times thrusters and 10 times gyroscopes are needed if you actually want to enjoy flying this thing and not be like you're trying to get up to Mach 100 speed and it's taking like 2 minutes because it weighs so much in heavy armor. I have warp speed, rebalanced Star Wars weapons. It doesn't matter if you use a rebalanced or if you use the 2020 update. As long as you have it, you'll have your weapons for the ship. Clear camera overlay, I highly suggest that. And then this is just the skybox and the black hole is new mod today, which is super fun. But yeah, these mods are absolutely essential for actually enjoying flying the ship. And make sure you have either one of these Star Wars weapon mods. It will switch out for either one, so it doesn't matter if you have rebalanced or 2020. But those are super essential, and you should really have armor blocks only 1 PCU with no edges and whatnot, so it's less PCU to spawn in the ship, and also you don't have the edges because it looks really tacky, and it's a much cleaner professional. I mean, it's still gonna look great, but you know what I mean, it will look better without the edges. Yeah, I think it's this debris field right here. Weapons are online, so welders, photons, and phasers are online, so I'm gonna turn off the cameras just because I don't want the deflector to get targeted. So these are the red primary starship laser turrets or whatnot. Once again, they are Star Wars weapons officially, but they represent really well as far as being the Kelvin Timeline laser turrets. I want that to hit my nacelle. They will, oh my god, it exploded right over the nacelle. But they will cause friendly damage, so if those weapons decide to shoot my nacelle or something, or that will actually damage my ship. That's just the way bullets cause damage to the vessel. So if any of that nicks my top of my nacelle or whatnot, that will cause friendly damage. Thankfully, missile general, oh my gosh. So, our warp nacelle scoops did take some damage because, yeah. That's all heavy armor. The light armor strong mod, so that explosion did a lot of damage. Okay, so right now I'm shooting at some passing drones. I kind of want to get the... I'm gonna have to force this knob. It won't slow down enough. I want the freaking torpedoes to fire. So the torpedo doesn't have the greatest shot and whatnot. It will fire at it will fire better from specific side to side, or at a thing. I'll take a chance and we'll turn on the cameras. Actually, the deflector dish camera just got taken out, and as a matter of fact, the deflector dish just got shot up really bad. But you can see kind of what these cameras offer, and why it's really nice to have them. But I also have the command to turn off all of the cameras. Oh, see, there's a torpedo. You can kind of see what that's like. But just the way that it is, it's really hard for it to shoot straight and whatnot. Once again, if it does shoot your ship, you don't have to worry about it because it won't cause any damage or whatnot. So that is a good thing. My gosh, good thing I moved back. That debris almost hit me. Uh-oh, can't stop that. It's a heavy armor hull, so I'm not concerned damage-wise. It's kind of annoying having it there. It will damage the ship if it gets us out of movement. So, gosh, it's like they're trying to suicide enemy. Debris just bouncing off the hull. I like it. Oh my gosh. You can see the camera angle and how the grills look back there, but behind the deflector dish. I'm just really excited for you guys to enjoy it and whatnot. If you're looking for a command ship that really, really fucking tough, and you know, just something for that, this will definitely be the part. This thing is quite large for being, you know, I consider medium scale to me. My description of medium scale is the size large enough where I can properly do a perfect sculpt. Like I can properly do stuff. Like I consider myself like what I do 3D models. You know, I'm not trying to build a ship with all the interiors and stuff like that. I'm trying to give you a perfect 3D model. You want a perfect representation of the ship? That's what I do. So there we go. That is a combat test. Super fun. We actually took some damage. Had some little bits of debris bouncing off the hull. That was fun. I had fun. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what is offered here, and also the 3 other commands. You know, the 3 pages of commands, and you know, you can actually, when you play this, play with this ship, please enjoy it. Think of liking the actual build on Montevideo. That would be super awesome. Just great as far as the support and whatnot, and kind of, yeah, just a little extra bit of thing if you want to be really nice comment or something. It's a lot of time, and it's how I'm spending my life, so I really appreciate the support and kindness that people show my recreations, because it's a lot. It takes a lot to get this stuff down. But it's always worth it. I've always loved this ship, and I'm just really glad to have finally released truly proper representation. Like I was thinking of doing the large scale version, full scale with this, every window, rotating bizarre collectors. I don't feel the need for that anymore. I mean, this isn't a ridiculously large ship in the grand scheme of things, and I packed everything into this. So my thirst for doing a Kelvin Timeline Enterprise, it would just properly perfect sculpt. I pulled it off at this size. So, if anything, I'll be looking at doing the U.S.S Kelvin, which will be to scale with this thing, so it'll be just slightly smaller. Also doing the U.S.S Tyson. It's like the Kelvin Timeline NX-01. It's a fan design and whatnot. Incredible. Uses these themselves, and just build the body for it. The flexor dish and small grid like I did for my NX-01. But if you like my Star Trek recreations, for one, if this is on YouTube, please think of liking, subscribing for 1080p Gaming voice acting. Think of following me here on Twitch at VoiceOver Gaming for 1080p Gaming voice acting, as well as following me on my Space Engineers build. If you like Star Trek, if you want to see how I do this stuff live, I love to teach, I love to explain, show off my methods, and share the journeys with you, especially when I play with the ships, GTA, Halo, other stuff too. So if you want to hang out with me and get to know me and stuff, Twitch is where I'm at most. But yeah, I just really appreciate any of you watching. Those of you who take interest in what I do, it means a lot, more than you can know. But that is going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the build for yourself, and yeah, peace. Live long and prosper, and